and welcome to another episode on the Unbalanced Pedestal podcast. I'm your host, Tina Marie, two names, not one. Get that mistake all the time. Like, what should I call you by? Tina Marie, Tina. So it's just Tina. For those of you who are new to this channel, I welcome you. And if you're new, you want to go ahead and subscribe to any updates and surprises that I have coming out in the future, as well as if you feel like you already love this episode and you just getting ready to know me. If I did I say that correctly? That's something like it was forced. Let's try that again.
If you feel like you already know me, no, that I'm sorry. If you feel like you already know me from just listening to my voice, this sultry voice,
Go ahead and like this episode. So today's episode is about independence and self-sufficiency. That's going left field, right field, right? Of course it is, because it's always different with me. This topic inspired me due to obviously recent events. This is due to just a shift in the movement of the way females think. And when I say females, this is no longer holding to the societal norm standards, the Disney of the world, the fairy tales where we're waiting for someone to take care of us, right? Because we're in 2022. And depending on when you're listening to this podcast, it could be 5 years from now, 10 years, 20 years. It is so important in this day and age for women, young women. I say it's important for all women, no matter what age, from the time that they're preteens all the way through the mature age, that period. It's important to know what it is to be self-sufficient, to have independence. Now, for me, primarily my whole entire life, it's about being independent. I'm not the only child, but at the same time, the way I grew up, I had to figure things out on my own. Not to say that I didn't have family in my life, mother, father, brother, sister, cousins, all those people in my life. But because I was alone most of the time, my mom was always working, and I was most of the time at home or hanging out with friends in the neighborhood. And, do what little kids do, teenagers do, run around, playing tag, beating each other up. I was a tomboy back then, so yeah, I took a lot of hits to the arm, which hurt. I know what they say, when a guy likes you, they hit you. I don't know. Let's revisit that one. Is that like a form of abuse that we are taking as in the 90s? Maybe I should talk to my therapist about that. Anyway, digressing. So, growing up and just learning how to do the basics. So you're home alone, like Kevin, is it Kevin Arnold? I think that's his name. And making your your own food, your own cereal. You're just like entertaining yourself. So a lot of is one thing that I always say that I'd be damned if my children doesn't know like the basics, and that's like cooking, cleaning, and just like doing laundry. That's part of that aspect. The basics, how to survive, how to just not depend on someone for those things, because make eggs, make rice and beans, spaghetti with meat sauce, lasagna. I don't know. That's probably is too much right there. Make chicken, oatmeal, like the basic. If ever they should have a rough time coming up in their life where they have to penny pinch, they know that okay, we have these staples. And I know I spoke about this in a previous episode. I'm not sure what episode it was, but just to learn the basics. So independence and self-sufficiency, right? And this is obviously going to be geared towards teenage daughters, but this message is also welcome for teenage sons. But for young women, it is, I want to say there's a lot of gaslighting that goes on before the preteens happen, way before. And this is on both, again, spectrums between, your son or your daughter, right? There's a lot of, oh, you're too soft, or, this compromise, or why don't you, let someone do this? It's not such a big deal. Little things like that, little cues to you're telling them that it's okay to lower your standards. I feel wholeheartedly, and this is just my opinion, and this is why this is like a off the beat topic. As I said before, that I do want to talk about elements in my course, which I would definitely do in the next upcoming episode. But, and this also, I would say this does not align with my course, which it does, and that's more so in the group settings, the group coaching where you have that dialogue. So, but in a course directly, we do not talk about self-sufficiency and independence, right? It's more about how do you, have that bond with your daughter. Start off from the beginning. So, having or accepting those low standard practices from a very young age. And this is not for every child, right? There are some exceptions that you'll see where, some young women, they already know what they want, they already have it, they've been taught, which is great. These are for those who have not been, or if you yourself, as a mother or father, are struggling with keeping up with your standards. And this is a great thing for you too, because your standards, what you accept, it's going to be looked upon, it's going to be analyzed, not just by the outside world. And I say this again, anything you do in general, when you brush your teeth, when you do your hair, when you get your haircut, when how you dress, you're being looked at, you're being analyzed. And I'm not talking about Big Brother. I'm talking about with your own children. They are watching you. So they're looking at your standards. And having standards, a baseline of what you're going to accept. And this actually goes back to, for those who has been following me previous to this podcast episode, of that I'm a former people pleaser, right? And so I talk about, having boundaries. When you don't have boundaries, you don't have any standards. You're just letting anyone treat you like a doormat. Like literally, you're just like saying yes to everything. And you're not really taking in consideration of what your feelings are, what your emotions are, your stress levels, your spiritual your spiritual, your emotional, your mental health, like all of those factors, you're not taking consideration because you are filling up your time with other people's requests, other people's suggestions, other people's mess, right? Because you are the go-to person to fix everything. So when it's time to fix your life, when it's time for you to do your exercise, when it's time for you to get your sleep, when it's time for you to get your nails done, when it's time for you to go shopping because you've been wearing the same raggedy pair of jeans for the last 5 years, and if you get one more hole in that unforgivable area, the unmentionable area, you know, I'm not guilty of that at all. Just saying. But if you get what I'm saying, right? So this is where you need to say, you know what? I need to put myself first. I need priority. I matter. My life matters. That should be a movement. Hashtag my life matters. I'll put that in write that down. I don't know if that's taken, but I'm just, you never know. If it's not, then you heard it here first. But it's putting those standards, the basic standards for yourself, and then you want to build yourself up. So you have that threshold, right? The horizon, that line. You don't want to go obviously below. You want to go above. How this ties into self-sufficiency and independence. So the first thing you have to do with yourself, using yourself as an example before you can use this technique on your children, is that you need to have your standards of everything that you do for yourself. You pay your own bills, you own or maybe rent your own apartment, but you are paying your bills. You're responsible for getting yourself to and from wherever set location may be. You feed yourself, you know what food you like, you know what places you like to go and travel. You like to travel either economy, first class, business class, private jet. You have those standards, right? So when someone else comes along, right, because you already have that base, it may be higher or maybe at the baseline, whichever one is fine, the way you want to start out at. So you have those standards. So if someone else comes along, only for yourself that you travel first class every trip you go to because you pay for it, you earn those miles, right? If someone comes along in your life, they want a relationship with you, whether it's a friendship, whatever kind of relationship it is, right? And this doesn't have to be romantic, whatever it is. They want to go somewhere or, they want to hang out, chill. Let's take a group trip to here and there, or whatever. You only fly first class. Everyone, or say majority of people, okay, this is narrowed down to one because I can just go left with this. That person comes along, they know you fly first class, and they're like, you know what? I always do economy because I want watch my coins. That's not a problem. That's them. That doesn't mean that you have to lower your your standards of flying basic. You're not a basic person. You work too hard not to be a basic person. You have standards. You're up here. You're not down here, right? Actually, this is the horizon. So basic is down here. So you know what you want, right? You know that you like to shop at certain retailers, that fabrics make you feel good. You love linen and cotton and just silks, right? And someone wants to lavish you with, what they think is so great. And this is like a whole nother story, experience, that they want to lavish you with something that's, polyester, rayon, the more inexpensive fabrics. And not to say nothing's wrong with those fabrics, but again, you go from silk, wool, cotton to a lower standard of fabric, right? So that's like shopping at Lord and Taylor, and then you go to H&M. Two completely different, right? So when you are self-sufficient, you're independent, you have those standards. You know what you want. You know what you don't like. You know what you love. You know what you must stand for. So, in in turn, your children would also know, okay, this is what I like when I go out with my parents, my parental figures. I will tell them, yes, I like this. No, I don't like that. And this is again, whatever it could be, whatever things you guys are doing on that particular day or activity, whatever it is, it's all about being able to use your voice to make those choices. The next thing I want to talk about is compromising your self-worth for your mental health and so much more, because it is not worth it. It is not worth it. And then when I say compromise, and I know a lot, this word is thrown around so many times, where compromising is a very, very, I'll say, a tool or something that it should be used sparingly. Because when you compromise too much, then you are going against your integrity. You're going against your moral beliefs. And this should be used again sparingly. When you compromise against something that you do not feel wholeheartedly about, that you don't get a good feeling, it's going to bite back at you in the worst way. You will have mental stress, is one. Your spirit will be disturbed. And also, anything that you stand for has gone out the window, because once you do that, you are letting that other party know that they got you, that you are easily persuaded that one time. So when you compromise, it has to be a very good reason that you are benefiting from, as well as the other party or parties. If they ask you to, like, say, okay, let's go out, right? And you know that damn well you are a vegan, or you just started off being a vegan. You're probably maybe 1 month into it, right? Let's make it easy. You're 1 month into it. So you're like, all right, I'm in my 1 month. I'm not craving any meats at all. I'm not doing any dairy. And I take it a step further. I'm not doing any gluten, right? That's a big thing going around. So you go out with a few group of people, person, whoever, and they're like, okay, let's go to this restaurant. and nothing on the list, not even a salad is on the list. Nothing on the list is what you can eat, right? They have everything that you have worked so hard to get to that point. Those 30 days that you're in, that it's just full of gluten, full of meat, and a whole bunch of dairy, and there's nothing. So what do you do in this situation? You want to hang out with them. You want to be, in the crowd. You want to be in, keeping the company. But what do you do? Do you go ahead and indulge? Like, okay, you know what? It's not that bad if I just do it this one time. I'll take, fish, or I'll take chicken. I'll eat, French toast, which is made with eggs, right? And it's also gluten. What do you do in that situation? Do you go ahead and do it, knowing that your beliefs, whatever it is, the reason why you went that route has gone out the window. And now that you have been
Been tainted, that you've been corrupted, that you compromised.
that person or those people, they now see that, oh, okay, she's not really serious. He's not really serious. So next time we go out, they have no issue about giving us a hard time because they lack discipline. They're not really, they say they're vegan, but they're really not. They do it. They're what's that term, that word? Not the word. They're, I don't remember. Well, anyway, if I remember down the line, then so be it. But they see you that are easy to persuade. So compromising, you have to really give it with a grain of salt, or maybe sand, because sand is probably finer than salt. Give your compromising with a grain of sand. I have a question. So, how many of you have been on that road where you're actually trying to make yourself fit into someone else's world, into someone else's narrative, their space, because they may be the life of the party. They are that person, that go-to person that everyone goes gravitate towards, right? And you want to be in that space. And that's like a whole other topic I can go into, where once you know yourself and you're fine with yourself, you don't need to chase those kind of people because they're not worth your time at all. They just use your energy. But going back to what I'm referring to is that by you trying to fit into their space, into their narrative, into what they're doing, you are essentially making yourself small. You are going to make yourself feel small. And this is also picked up by your children. And this is going across all ages, because I know some adults are doing the same exact thing. And I can't say it's sad, because we all learn at different stages in our lives. You should never stop learning, no matter what. If you don't know something today and you learn something new tomorrow, be grateful that you learned it, because you have the ability to change and make yourself much, much better than you were the day before. Always find at least one good thing that will benefit your life, whether it's listen to an audiobook, whether it's taking a new lesson, a new course. This is learning something new. I learned something new recently yesterday on TikTok. I'm admitting it. Yes. It was just so cool. So this guy, he's doing his live and he does ink blotting. And I'm like, oh, that is so cool. And I'm a creative, so anything like that, I'm just like drawn to that. And it was so fun. I think it was a couple hundred people on there yesterday. And it was just like it was so fun because uh he started he uses, I think, acrylic paint. And so he puts the paint on plastic, a sheet of paper, he folds it and then he wipes it down and then he smushes it on paper. And we're all like in the chat, like guessing, we're not guessing, but we're saying, okay, what do we see? Some people like, we see a tiger, a panda, we see a ninja, we see a brain, and then we see the elephant. So it was like so cool. And then he's like, oh yeah, I see that, or I see a child doing this and XYZ. And it's actually pretty good because that also gets your brain going, right? And I'm like, that'll be a cool hobby for me to do if I'm just like stressed out, you know. And along with my other hobbies, I like to do like gardening and painting, love painting, photography, uh, and I just like working with my hands. So that's like, you know, a way to learn something new. You know, if it's, you know, watching someone play piano and that gets you inspired to buy a keyboard or um, go in person to book lessons. It's just finding something that you can do for yourself every day because the more you learn, the more creases in your brain. I know there's a terminology, but the more folds your brain creates, and which is a good thing because as you age, warding off dementia, Alzheimer's, all of these brain diseases because your brain just remains dormant and it just shrinks. So your brain is a muscle, right? People go to the gym, you work out, you probably do some kind of form of workout, whether it's yoga, Pilates, some chair exercises, whatever it is that you're working on your body. Walking is an exercise. Going upstairs is an exercise, right? You're getting those muscles, you're being mobile. If you are a person that sits down all day, you get up, where's the first thing you feel? You may feel pain in your hips. Why? Because your body, your joints are in this position for so long, right? But when you're mobile, you're walking around, you know, every few minutes, every half hour, I don't know, whatever it is, you're moving it. It's like a squeak, it's like a rusty screw and a bolt, right? So the water gets on it and you don't have no WD-40, right? It gets rusty. So we try to turn it, it doesn't move. Those are your joints. But when you have your WD-40 and it's moving, that's what you want to do for yourself. And I know I just went on a tangent. I try not to do them, but that's what I guess makes the podcast special each and every episode that I just go off like that. But dialing it back to independence and self sufficiency, you must have your standards. Have your standards for yourself. If you are accustomed to eating at a certain restaurant, wearing certain clothes, going to certain, hang around individuals that elevate your mind and not deteriorate your mind, that's a standard. That's a standard, right? If you like wearing your hair a certain way and the person that you're with or the crowd you're with, they're like, you know what, we don't like it like that. F them. Who are they going to pay for it? Then let's go. Like, can I have your credit card number so I can book my appointment? You know, get sassy with it. But joking. But this is what I'm talking about. Know yourself. Know what you want. Do what you feel is right for you and not to please anyone else. This is all I'm trying to say. All that for the last half hour, that's all I'm trying to tell you is do what pleases you because you are the person that will set up those guidelines of how you teach people how to treat you. You teach them that you're not a doormat, you deserve more, you will not take less, and if they give you a problem, you walk away. And this is for anything, any area in your life. Any area in your life. There's no reason why that you should continue to suffer day to day, minute by minute. And we all know the time is flying by. Like we are about to go into July. Like where did 6 months go? 6 months it started. Yes, we know 6 months ago, but 6 months feel like it started like 3 months ago. It's like they literally turned up the, I don't know, whoever's in charge of the master time, they literally turned it up by half. So you teach people how to treat you because it will guard you against manipulation. You will know your values. You will also learn how to respect your time by not giving it away to other people to waste for no apparent reason, just because they can. Don't give them that option. So, going back to, again, once again, independence and self sufficiency. So, you want to make sure your children have the basics in life. If you are not in a position to help them out financially when they get older, or put them in better schools, or move to a better neighborhood, at least teach them teach them the basics. Like teach them as much as you can what you know, the basics, because there are some adults out there who don't know how to boil water. I'm not being funny, but it's just like, they don't know how to make, I don't eat the stuff, but like ramen noodles, not ramen noodles, they're called cup of noodles, right? Even though it's you boil the water to, that's a very dangerous thing because you can burn yourself with that. But it's teaching them how to just live without depending on somebody else. Because when they become dependent on someone else, that's not a good look at all. And I've been there before where I had to depend on someone else when I was going through hard times. And if it's a weird feeling, it's like, I don't know, it's like a handout, and it's like, I don't like feel like that. So, and it's like again, like a weird situation, but some people may like it, but for your child's sake, show them how to be independent and self-sufficient because it will only help them along in their journey for their own personal development when they go out into the world, when they figure out what they want to do with their lives, what career or business they want to get into, if they want to travel. That's a huge thing. Like if they want to travel, you better teach them how to be independent and self-sufficient, because guess what? They gotta learn, depending on where they go, they have to learn that language, at least the basic, or level 2 language of that country. They're gonna need to know how to convert money. They are going to learn, they need to learn how to read the maps. So, and they just need to know, they need to know the basic stuff. Just how we're here in the United States that we should learn the basic stuff here. They need to learn the basic stuff in those countries that they plan to go to, right? What if they don't have a place to stay? Do they have a backpack? Or do they have somewhere they can hostel that they can sleep in? Do they know how to manage the money when they go over there? All of these things that they have to know, basic, independent, self-sufficient things. Okay, I'm done. Oh my gosh. If you have any questions, just call me on the phone. No, but I do appreciate you for sticking around this long. If you are still with me, because I know, again, going off on a tangent, but I do, I'm very appreciative. Gratitude goes out to you for, the 30th episode. Going strong. Yes, 30 episodes. Oh my gosh. It's like almost there. Almost there. Cannot believe that. Let's see. More than halfway there. And don't forget, hashtag my life matters. That's the thing. I'm gonna put that up on here. So if you have any questions or comments about this episode, you thought it was hilarious, comment LOL. I know what's about. I'll reply back to you, give you a shout out. Thank you for supporting the episode. Your likes and comments does help out the channel. So until next time on the Unbalanced Pedestal podcast, I'll see you next week. Bye.